Welcome, Mental Health Monday family. It's so good to have you all here with us this evening. Please let us know where you are viewing from. We want to say a special welcome to all of you, and we want to see where you are viewing from as we are continuing our conversation this evening about men's mental health. Such a big topic. I know when I announced it this past week at church, I said, please, women, come. You are welcome because you need to know how to take care of the men in your life, or at least how to check in on the men in your life to see that they're okay. Because it's so very important. And of course, they need to do the same for you. But today we're talking about men's mental health and some of the special challenges that men go through. And women, we know you have special challenges too. And when we do it, the topic is on women. We'll definitely be covering those as well. But again, today is on men. Welcome, Clint. You definitely were the first one. I don't know if you were the first one here, if you were the first one. I know you're the first one to write in the chat. So welcome. Clint is like all over the place. Clint was on last night when we did the part 2 of the 10 horns. Clint was there. Clint is everywhere. Clint is,
Representing.
he's good people.
That's awesome. Clint, we
He's good
appreciate
people.
you. We appreciate
Yes,
you.
we have Travish, I don't know if that's the last name, but from Florida. We have a device. I've learned to say it's device. You don't know how many people are watching, right? So we say we have somebody is watching from Florida on a device. Because we don't know. We don't know. I've
If it's
heard
an
people
iPad
say,
or a desktop or mobile, true.
yeah, because you never know if it's one person. We have
Right, right.
Rebecca. Welcome. Rebecca, where are you viewing from? Like
Absolutely.
to just know where all of our audience is coming from. But we're just happy that you guys are here with us. Clint says the Lord is keeping him busy. Well, we're just thankful that you are here with us. Here
Amen.
with us. I don't think I said hi to you, Dr. White. Hi.
Greetings, Sister Tante. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well. I told you when I was like rushing to the home studio that I was just into seeing a client like 15, 20 minutes ago. So I'm okay, but I'm like, it's been a busy day.
Amen.
It's been a busy Monday. Definitely a
Manic
busy
Monday.
Monday. Rebecca's viewing from South Dakota. Wow, welcome. I have never been to the Dakotas. Have you, Dr. White?
I have I said that quickly, but I don't believe so. I've been to
Okay.
Minnesota or maybe even Minneapolis, but no, I
Well,
haven't
that's
been to
Minnesota. Yeah, but the
yeah,
Dakotas are,
yeah.
yeah, South Dakota, North Dakota. Rebecca, how cold is it there? Do you guys have a lot of snow? I always just imagine the Dakotas have
Really,
a lot of snow, even in the
right.
summer. I know they don't have all that snow in the summer, but you just think Dakotas, you just think snow, beautiful white snow. But yeah, let
Seriously.
us know. Emily, welcome. Don't know where you're viewing from, but it's good to have you here with us today as we talk about men's mental health.
Amen.
Yes. So we were able to take at least a good introduction into men's mental health last week. I think it was so good that we decided to make this a series because I think I know men deserve that much attention
Oh,
from
thank you
us.
for saying that. There are people who don't even wouldn't even agree. Like sometimes it just feels so you just feel overlooked. And what's funny is I think a lot of times we kind of don't want to be in the limelight like that, you know? And
Mm,
so it's like we almost kind of embrace being like, yeah, we don't have to talk about that. I'm uncomfortable. Like, yeah, let's talk about you guys.
yeah.
So it's very awesome that you would resonate with it and be like, no, this is important. So thank you.
Yes. Well, we have to give Sister Denise, it was her idea. Then you resonated with it. And then I resonated with it. So we're
Yes,
all three resonating with the fact that we need
exactly.
to talk about men's mental health.
100%.
It is a huge, huge, huge topic. I have to say, I mean, things are changing in the world, though. They're definitely changing. I don't know about you, but um, I see I'm starting to see more and more men reach out for therapy.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's a shift. That's definitely a shift and change in society for sure.
agreed. 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 I mean,
Hmm.
I have a good chunk of men that, that we see from an acute, locked in psychiatric
Hmm.
perspective. Unfortunately, like that part of the against their wills. So,
Yeah.
like they're not like voluntarily coming. It's because of anger issues and
Right.
being explosive, and
Right.
so I would
Hmm.
highly recommend you get the support you need before it comes to that. So
Yes.
so you're right though. It is nice that there is a movement towards
Come see
people
me
coming
before you
in.
have to go see Dr. White.
There I didn't wanna say it that way, but
Well,
that's right.
that's really what it is.
That's
Come
what
to me
it is.
voluntarily before they force you to see Dr. White.
Exactly.
Before the law says, "You know what? We're gonna
Yeah.
put you on a 3-day hold," and
Or the family, scoop you up
yes.
into the car. Before that, no.
Mhm.
She's gonna be a
Yes.
much better day than the
Yes.
day you see me on.
Most
So
definitely. Listen, you guys are definitely a part of this program. We're going to be sharing things that we have learned and want to share with you about men's mental health and how to improve that and giving some tips and those things like of that nature. But we want to hear your questions. You are a part of it by asking us questions so we can, be able to answer those questions. And I'm happy to see some women here, the women that are here. Welcome. We're so happy to see you here because again, you are going to be learning some things on how to be able to better support the men in your life. So,
when we don't see questions, we will ask because I do have a question for you.
you have a question for me.
I got a
That's all
question
right. Let's
for you.
go. Dr. Wright always does this. He always has questions for me way before I have questions for him. But go ahead.
What has a man surprised you and asked you in therapy? What kind of shocked you that you were actually asked about in therapy or the situation you had to deal with that kind of stands out to you?
That surprised me that a man asked. It didn't. Well, I don't know how much. I guess I could say it was a surprise because I was just learning. I've just never had a man say this before, but I had a man years ago. He said, and it was in couples counseling. So he just explained to me, and it helped me to understand what it's like as a man when a woman or your wife or your partner is asking you a ton of questions and the man is not answering fast enough, and how frustrating and how difficult that is. I He enlightened me because I didn't I didn't realize that the way we process or the way women process information so quickly, a man is just like they're processing it way slower than we are. I mean, I see it in my marriage all the time. I'll just be honest. Like, I need to let my husband sit with something and give him some time to like. I'm like, so what's your answer? What do you think? Well, give me an answer. And he's like processing it at his speed, and it seems like they're just shutting down, but they're not. They're processing, and we don't give them enough time to process. I had to learn that. My client literally is teaching me something. He didn't know that though, but he was teaching me
I think that's so profound because
because
it's like
he painted the picture so he
beautifully.
using his words. I could see it. It just like and it penetrated so hard with me because I was like, wow, I do that sometimes. I can see it. I can see I were shut down sometimes because I'm just like, give me an answer. What do you mean? Hurry, and I'm like, it's like this, but for a man, it's like your guys' processing will goes like probably slower than that. And ours is like this, but go ahead.
Well, the funny thing is like so like if you're like analyzing it and you're about to get to a conclusion, then it's like, well, what do you think? And so now you gotta restart it again. And
Yeah.
then you're like, so no, but I need you. What do you think? And it's like, so that's where the shutdown happens because you're just like, I'm trying to get to the conclusion. I'm taking it through my system. So that's really refreshing.
And
Uh,
for women, what I learned, and it was something that I think that a lot of you as women could learn and take away is be patient. And it could not even be your husband or partner, even with your son or father or brother or coworker or whatever. These are men. So give them time to process and get the answer out.
That's
Be
wild.
patient.
That's wild. Well,
That's hard for us.
I do want to compliment you and how you work with Pastor, because like he's deep diving into the 10 horns or the whatever it is,
He's
but it's
always
like
deep diving somewhere.
but then it's like you'll be like, okay, well, don't forget this to schedule. Okay, go deeper on this point. Or all right, but remember there's some people like it's like it's this perfect marriage, you know. Um,
By the grace of God.
you
But
know,
I do think we
right.
complement each other well. We have learned a lot. We grow. God put us together so we could both grow and learn and be better people, because we had to, like, his strengths are my weaknesses and my strengths are his weaknesses. So we complement each other. But um, yeah,
But
Well,
but that's
thank
a
you.
dance that it's nice to try to learn with
Hmm.
your spouse, because
Yeah, we had to learn to how to dance together.
you have to learn it, you know, and
You
it's
have to
so I
learn it.
mean, I think that's what now Clint just gave my book a shout out. Clint, I appreciate you,
Yeah, he
brother.
did.
He picked up my Killing Burnout book and he said he's enjoying it. I appreciate that, Clint. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, he said it's been a huge blessing. I saw that. A huge. All right.
That's
Yes.
awesome. Thank you.
It is a great book. I've told you I've used your material. I've given talks using your material. I did give you credit though. I told them the
See,
book
I
and
appreciate
Dr.
that.
White.
I
I
appreciate
let
that.
I let them know this didn't come from me. This is where it came from. But yes, no, it's a great book. So guys, Killing Burnout. You want to check that out. But it looks like we have a question. Do you believe if a man chose to stay single is unhealthy? Ooh,
Hmm.
good question.
Hmm. Uber. I don't. Well, we don't know, but Uber. Great question. Great question.
It is a great question. I'm going to
Great
process that
question.
slowly, like I was saying that how men do.
You're
I'm
gonna
letting
slow
you
down a
answer
minute.
first, and then I'm going to process if I'm going to come up with an
No,
answer.
sure. So it can be healthy and it can be unhealthy.
Hmm.
So the deciding factor then becomes why and what will they do, you know, instead. So when can it be healthy?
Hmm.
It could be super healthy if a person is like, hey man, I'm really committed to a vision, I'm committed to a dream of some sort, and I recognize that it would be unfair to bring a, you know, to start a relationship with the expectations. So I know when I was, you know, when I was dating and I was on a medical track, my wife understood, okay, I know what that requires.
Hmm.
Um, she was a nurse, so she was pretty familiar, but so I know what that requires. And there are other people who they'd be like, I don't want to be with a doctor. I don't want to deal with that level of demand. And
Hmm.
so it might have been wise for me to say, okay, well, I'll be single until maybe a certain point
Mm.
where I have a greater command of my schedule. Now, it can, so you can see how you can make a decision where it could be healthy, but it could be
Hmm.
unhealthy if, for example, a person just wanted to be self centered
Hmm.
and just make life about themselves. And hey, I'm just going to focus on me. Well, what you find is often when you're going to get fantastic outcomes, it you're able to attach to a vision that's bigger than yourself. When
Hmm.
you get a vision that's bigger than yourself, a lot of times you get better outcomes. And the
Hmm.
other interesting thing to that is when you get into a relationship, it can often be a source where it brings more out of you. You're like, okay, now I'm not just living for me, I'm living for this other person. And
Hmm.
you know, when you had kids, oh my goodness, when you have kids, it can be so centering and like, okay, it's one thing
Hmm.
if I was just relying on this, but my family is depending on this. It's
Right.
a different pull.
Yeah.
So I think if it's just kind of just self-centeredness, then it can sometimes be unhealthy. Now that's what came to my mind, but since now that you've had some time to reflect on it, What are your thoughts?
I 100% agree with you. If I want to go, um, hmm, I agree with you. And if I want to go Bible, the Bible says it's not healthy for man to be alone. I truly think that. Now Jesus was not married; he was alone. He did have a mission. So Paul, once converted, was alone and was very focused on the ministry that he was called to. So using those examples, there are examples, but they're few examples like that, meaning that could be the calling for some. And that's what would be best. But I can say that overall, the majority, of course, what you said, especially bringing children in, and I have to say, I'm not a man, I'm a woman, but being with my husband has made me a better person. Being
Mm,
a mother, I can tell you the three things that made me well, I guess I could say four. I mean, I had great parenting, I have to say that, but that what's really made me a better person is my husband, becoming a mother, becoming a therapist. Those three things.
that's a good point.
Mhm.
That's a good point because sometimes I'm using skills and I'm just like, man, these are things I've learned. Imagine how the situation would have unfolded if
If
I
you didn't
didn't have
know,
this
yeah,
training. If I
if you
didn't, that's
hadn't learned. And I was gonna say, that, you know, especially you're going to be it's very easy to be self-centered if you're not in a committed marital relationship or even as a parent, because all you have to do is worry about yourself. So it can be challenging to have to learn to have empathy um, when you're not in that situation. Is it impossible? No. Do we know for everybody's situation? We're not God, and we don't know His will for every single person.
well said.
But
Well,
overall, I know that I'll just be honest. Like who knows people that have never been married or never had children? I know some people like that, and yeah, that's all. They're just if you've never had to give your life to little people that grow up to be, great, adults, or to give your life, or to, when I say give your life, like sacrifice yourself and things you want to do. It's almost like, being like even with only children, they have to learn how to share like with cousins or friends or, learn those because they don't learn that at home because they don't have to automatically share anything. I'm seeing this. I'll just give you guys an example. Um, I mean, it's not about sharing, but it's just about how, because we have three grandchildren and the middle grandson now was only 18 months when this baby was born a month ago. And his mind was blown. He was his mother's whole world. Even though we had an older granddaughter who is almost 5. This was our daughter's first son, the middle one. And so when when the baby came a month ago, he's like, "Mom, it was me and you. I was I was your guy. Now you're spending all this time with this little baby." My point is he's learning how to
share.
share.
How to
He's
share.
learning that yes, mommy loves him and daddy loves him, but their whole world doesn't just resolve around him. My granddaughter had to learn that. I'm going way into the only children thing, but just like we only children are having children, the children learn when the other children come into the picture. We also learn when we have children as parents, what it's like to just be self-sacrificing um, to these little children that you created and brought into the world. So
We could keep batting this question around because like
yeah, we can go
being
on.
married has helped me, and it's ways where it's so intangible. Like
Hmm.
there are there are wardrobe catastrophes that my wife has helped me to avoid. Like
Oh
and
yeah,
to a degree, vice versa. It's as little as, "Hey, does this work?" And it's like that does not work.
my
You know,
husband always asks me. He's like, "What do you think about this?" And then when he doesn't, and then like just the other day, I was like, "Why do you have that on?" He's like-
right?
And
Well,
he's like, "Well, I thought the other thing was too much." I was like, "No, that was better. This is not enough." Or, yeah, I
so we
agree.
help one another.
You
We help one
help
another. We help one
helpmates.
another.
You're
We help on it
helpmates.
100%.
So
So
you can tell we're pretty much team marriage when you marry the right person, and and it's but but again, it's something that you have to make that decision. So I think we took
yeah.
a long time on that one. Let's go to another question. Why do men tend to share their emotions with other men, example, their male friends, more than they do with women, including their wives? I'm letting you answer this first because I think you know better
Well,
than I do
like
why y'all do this.
so here I'll give you an illustration. I remember being part of a men's Bible study. And by the way, that's one of the things that helped me be a better person as well. So shout
Mm.
out to Mount Rubidoux Men's Bible Study. It was definitely one of the things that helped me grow in many directions.
Well, I'm
Uh,
gonna give a shout out to the Living Manna Church men's group because we have a men's ministry. A lot of them are here today, so I think we have to give a shout out to them too. Maybe you need to visit the men's group for Living Manna Church as well. But go ahead.
well, brothers, put a one in the chat if I was on a call with you just last week. It's,
Okay.
and
Well, see,
they
I
are
wouldn't
epic.
know because I'm not a
They,
part of the the
they,
men
no,
group.
they are epic. They are epic. So I'm looking forward to, yeah, I'm
That's
definitely
great.
looking forward to get it's, dude, it's a hidden gem. So absolute shout out to Living Manna men's group.
I think every man should be in a men's group somewhere.
No question. Well, and every Living Manna man should be in our Living Manna
Well, for
men's
sure.
group. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's at
Absolutely.
5, I think it's 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Tuesdays, if I'm not mistaken. I don't, so you guys might put something in the chat to clarify, but it can be so helpful to be
Mhm.
in community with like-minded brethren. Now we're getting to your point. Now we're getting to your question here, Deborah. One of the things I think men tend to understand is like if your brother is dealing with emotions, I think we have a tremendous amount of respect for it. So in that
Mhm.
men's Bible study, from time to time, a person might be crying, but I think men understand that behind those tears, like by the time a man is brought to the point of crying,
Mm.
it's a really significant moment. You see this big built dude crying, you understand that person is at the edge. And so we will tend to by default handle that with tremendous care.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes outside of the setting of men, that it can be mishandled. It can be mishandled.
Mhm.
Whether it's a joke might be made, whether it might be dismissed in some way, um so that it's like, hey, I want to do this in this space where for whatever reason I'm deeming this as a safe space. Like
Mhm.
that's the thing that comes to mind. That's the thing
Mhm.
that comes to mind, Deborah. But there can be other things as well. And
Mhm.
so if they've had a bad experience where maybe they did it to a woman and then she responded in a way that hurt them subsequently or it was weaponized against them subsequently, it could lead them to say, I feel safer doing this with some men that I've built some trust and community with versus taking it out of this setting. What are your thoughts, sis?
I absolutely 100% agree with you, and I would say it like this. I think I can say it cuz I'm a woman. Sometimes ladies, I mean, we're okay, I'm saying this. We can be sometimes it can be our fault that they feel safer to talk in their around their male friends or with just men because their walls might be up because they've tried to um talk to us or a woman in their in their life, and um she shut them down or didn't listen, became um frustrated and angry, and they just didn't feel safe.
Yeah, I concur.
And so this is, and I can say, I don't know, this is not a scientific proven tested theory. This is my theory. But I feel like when men get shut down, men are strong. They are the protectors and all of that. Like if somebody's about to approach you or hurt you, like something just clicks and they're like, "No, I'm the man here. I'm going to fight for this my wife, child, or that I'm protecting them." But emotionally, when they get shut down by women, it can be very difficult for them to get the courage to put themselves in that position again, to just be shut down or hurt again. You can tell me if I'm very off,
No, no, no.
Dr. Whyte. So they don't really allow them. So I'll give you an example. Okay. We're talking real talk right here. Okay, guys. We know that men and women cheat, right? They can be unfaithful in their marriage. But I have learned at an early age, I saw this. This is like high school. So, in high school, people are not mature and they're doing things they should not be doing. But when a guy really, really, really liked a girl, and this is like, let's just say high school, and she cheated, he was so wounded. He never got over that. Maybe years later, it turned him into like a mass cheater. He never trusted again. He was too scared to be that good, faithful man again because he doesn't want to get hurt. So it kind of turns them into a chronic cheater until they finally get healed and get themselves together. And later on in life, hopefully they get out of that. But I've seen that happen many times. And it just made me think like, men, once they put their heart out there and you hurt it, it is very hard for them to trust again. And I'm not saying women don't go through a lot of deep pain if when they get cheated on as well, but I have found that women seem to be a little bit more resilient, and
Yeah.
they will be faithful in that next situation even though they were hurt in the last situation. I'm not saying for every single situation. I've just seen that many times. Again, this is not a scientific study. It's my experience of what I've seen. What are your
But
thoughts?
you're cooking with Crisco.
Is
You're
Crisco a good
cooking.
oil? Say I'm cooking with olive oil. Crisco's not a healthy oil, but go ahead.
You're cooking with extra virgin olive oil. Okay,
Thank
extra
you.
virgin.
You
All
know who
right,
would appreciate that is
Columbus,
Dr.
Columbus,
Batiste. Yeah.
Columbus Batiste. Yeah,
I'll be
you're
like, can you believe that Ricardo told me I'm cooking with Crisco? He would laugh.
you're cooking with extra virgin olive oil with the high temperature set point.
Organic
Okay,
extra
and
virgin olive oil.
organic,
Okay. There we
cold
go.
pressed. Yeah. Well, because I don't know. Now we're going into the cheating thing, but it's like when on a whole, when you look at why women cheat, when you look at why men cheat,
Hmm.
so a lot of times when women cheat, there's emotions involved. Like
Yeah.
it's more of an emotion.
True.
Um, and then you look at men cheat, and it can often be a bit more like physical. Obviously, you can't really just separate physical from emotions. Obviously, there's some emotion involved, but like you can imagine how a women's group of friends look at her if she's being cheated on, and think about how a group of men look at that person who's being cheated on, and you can immediately see, like as guys, you're looking at the person like,
Hmm.
it's you. So as a woman, you are defending that guy's self-respect.
Right.
Like you're literally defending it.
Hmm.
As a guy, you're defending her self-respect. It's true. But if you
Hmm.
got that analogy just now, you got it. If you didn't get it, sorry. But yeah.
Hmm.
So whatever the case, making that setting safe for that man is critical. And it may very well start with just having the conversation. What would make it safe? What would make me easy to talk to? Here's how you might ask the question: what's one thing I could do to make it easier to talk to me? What's
Mm.
one thing? Just what's one thing I
Write
could
that
do?
down, ladies. Write that down.
What's
Hmm.
one thing I could do to make it a little easier to talk to me? Just one
Absolutely. Absolutely. How can I help? How can I better make you feel safe? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Have another question. How can I keep from, I guess, getting stressed out in social situations when I'm introverted and have some level of social anxiety? That is from David.
That's a powerful question.
Hmm.
So here's the thing: social anxiety, it'll occur on a spectrum. And so
Mhm.
there's a spectrum where just a talk recommendation might be helpful to you and you do these tweaks and it might work. But it's
Mhm.
on the other spectrum where, hey, I wonder if professional attention is necessary and
Right.
psychopharmacological interventions required, like meds or so it's a spectrum. But so all we're locked into is, we're going to deal with the making recommendations. So that's maybe on the lighter end of the spectrum. I know for me, David, it helped me to navigate social settings with greater ease when I was able to take my focus out of my emotions and understand, there's probably somebody here who's just as uncomfortable as I feel right now.
Mhm.
And if I can make it a point to kind of focus on them and try to make them comfortable, um, it'll distract me from how I'm feeling.
Mm.
And I mean the powerful thing is when like you really approach it that way and like you even ratchet it up, there's somebody here who is maybe at their wits end. Like what if I was able to be present for that person? There's a person that might be hopeless, they might be desperate, they might be tempted to give up because no one has talked to them meaningfully. What if I
Mhm.
found that person? What if I was present for conversation and really gave a person a chance to talk about something they cared about?
Mm.
We've all had those cocktail parties where you got an opportunity to talk about something you cared about.
Right.
That's the fun. And the
Mhm.
person listened and they were present.
Mhm.
David, what I'm talking about is shifting the focus from my heart rate is going up and what are people thinking about how I'm dressed and what are they thinking and what are,
Right.
to let me focus on making sure this person feels heard.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
feel heard. And I go up to the first person and it went flat. Maybe they ignored me, worst case scenario. I just went to the next person. Well, I guess that wasn't the mission. But
Mhm.
that's what you could be seeking for. And let's say the night goes horribly, David. At the end of the night, you can say to yourself, I was ready to be present for someone. I did it. I did
Mhm.
it. That's awesome. What are your thoughts?
Yes, no, yeah, no, I love your again, I agree with you. I think that's great information. I'll just add a little caveat to that because you mentioned like, when you're having anxiety, your heart is beating faster. And so, I mean, and this is for women or this is for us humans, period. It doesn't matter, men or women. But when I am feeling anxiety, and this is what I teach my clients a lot, and I've talked about this on here before, but just do the deep breathing, the 4-7-9. Take in a deep breath. And people don't even know it was perfect during COVID when we had to wear a mask. It was absolutely perfect because nobody knew nothing. But they could still not know anything. Like even before I go on live, like on Sabbath mornings, I do my deep breathing before I go live. Before I'm like, hello, welcome. I mean, it's just to calm me down and just to completely shut down any anxiety or anything. And so you are lowering your heart rate, calming down, and then you can have that conversation in your head that Dr. White just talked about. So you're bringing yourself back into the center and be like, you know what? Then you can capture those negative thoughts that are like, oh, they're looking at what you're wearing, or they're listening to every word you're saying if you're saying it right. Like all those negative things that go on in our head when we're in social situations. So the breathing, take a deep breath for 4 counts, hold it for 7, release it for 9, bring the heart rate down, do as many times as needed.
One
That's
more
what I
time
do.
with that count. One more time with that count. Can you give that count one more time?
4-7-9.
Or 7 9.
Take
In
a
4 seconds,
deep breath.
hold it for 7,
Yeah.
let it out for 9.
Let it
That's
out for 9.
straight gold.
Like you're deflating a balloon, letting all the air out of your lungs and then
Straight,
breathe again.
straight gold. How many
So,
cycles would you say?
I always tell my clients 3.
That's what I right
But
now.
honestly, the first time, immediately your heart rate is going to start to come down. But then, sometimes the anxiety is so much. Like 3 is golden, but maybe you only have an opportunity for 1 that will still help. But 3 is
100%.
like a nice spot.
100%. 100%.
Hmm.
I
Yes,
found
Greg Reed said controlling the vagus nerve. Absolutely. That's a whole nother thing, but we'll talk about that next time. There's
I,
different ways to activate the vagus nerve. Okay, I have found it hardest to learn to listen to my own personal cues with internal struggles because I used to ignore them. I certainly do better now, but do you have advice concerning this? And this is from Clint.
yeah. So Clint, this is where the morning devotion hour is so critical. Because that morning time is where you do have an opportunity to attune to God, but you also have an opportunity to attune to your own thoughts.
Mhm.
And, you know, this is like, so this is why meditative periods can be example. This is why the journaling can be important because it's these are moments to externalize your thoughts to where you then can interrogate them. You can see what you're thinking and then when with it externalized, with it out there, with it on paper, it's easier for you to say, "Oh, that's what I was thinking." Now you can process it and now you can make, adjustments. And I think that's what attunes you now to your own personal cues, including internal struggles, because you're like, "Man, I didn't even know I was really feeling that way." But it's right there on paper, as opposed to just an amorphous internal thought that can come and go and it can go without you even realizing it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, great question.
100%.
Absolutely great question.
I see the book on Amazon and I will order. Is it available in audio? Great question, Uber. Not at this time. I didn't do audio. I even did iBooks so that like you can get a digital copy on Apple, and we also did it on Ki- Ki- Kindle.
Kindle. Yeah,
Kindle.
Kindle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I kept wanting to say Kinder, like it's like a merger. No, no, no. I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. I kept
No, it's not
rejecting it.
right.
It's
Kindle.
like Kindle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they can get the book on Amazon. That's great. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
If a married man wants to see a therapist, should they talk with a male therapist? You absolutely can talk to a male therapist. But I can tell you, female therapists can be great too. I mean, it's whatever therapist fits for you, whether it's a male or female. There's a lot of different characteristics of the therapist that are going to be able to create that therapist and client alliance, which is so very important. So it could be male, it could be female.
Well said. Because the goal in therapy they talk about is the therapeutic alliance. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's like they don't even talk about the approach.
Right.
It's the therapeutic alliance.
Right.
Um, yeah, there's a therapeutic alliance, and get ready for this too. Like the first person you try, it's probably not even gonna be the fit. It's like you often have to do more than one therapist to land on
Mm-hmm.
the therapist where you get that therapeutic alliance
Right.
that will foster the growth that needs to take place. So if you
Absolutely.
if you think you need it, try it. But
Right.
you might get a fantastic outcome working with a
Mm-hmm.
female therapist.
I
You what
always tell people don't give up so easy. Like some people say,
please,
"Oh, I went to a therapist once and a
please.
couple of times I went." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. If that one didn't work, you have to try and
Again,
try again until you find the one that fits with you.
that's like saying, I dated a person, it didn't work, so no marriage
No
for
more
me.
dating."
No, no more dating.
Yeah, no.
Like,
You
nah.
definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we're still taking your guys' questions. We have about 10 more minutes to take your questions. So please throw your questions in there. We're talking about men's mental health. And Dr. White, we still had
Oh,
quite a
yeah.
list of things from our last week that we didn't get to.
Yeah,
So
let me see. Many
yeah,
experience.
and so we spoke about some of them. We talked
Yeah.
about, just to recap a little bit, the higher suicide rates that men are there's more suicide rates that are completed, I should say, by men. Women definitely attempt, but men tend to make sure that it happens. Um, and then depression symptoms for men. Men may experience depression differently than women, often expressing it through irritability, anger, or substance abuse rather than just sadness.
And that's important because here you might be preparing to say, "Hey, let me offer support," right? And so you're looking
Mhm.
for depressive symptoms when in fact this person is coming at you with like aggression, you know?
Mhm.
And so aggression, you more want to respond to with aggression.
Mhm.
When and it could be that, it's actually misunderstood depression. Now,
Mhm.
please do not take that statement to license being aggressive in your social sphere and say, "No, I'm just depressed." Please
Right.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Mhm.
I think as men, a awesome responsibility we have is to protect the
Mhm.
environments we're entrusted with, and to, as best as possible, make people feel safe wherever that's possible. Obviously, you can't be absurd about these things,
Mhm.
but no, I wouldn't want to use the excuse that, "Hey, I'm depressed," to let that excuse my aggression. Um, you don't want to be a bully. I just
Right.
think, like, growing up, one of the worst things a person could be is a bully. Don't be a bully. Do
Mhm.
not misplace your anger, your frustration on a non-deserving target, or on any target, honestly.
Mhm.
This is why you are not responsible for the trauma, but you're responsible for the healing. That's your
Yes.
responsibility. That's your response. It's You can't just say, "Well, I've had this traumatic." Not responsible that it occurred, but you are responsible for the healing. So no, you can't just take it out on the people in your community. Handle it. Get it handled, and that's why you want to get your support. But in the things that we in our mutual list that we have,
Mhm.
men struggle with accepting help. They
Mhm.
struggle with accepting help, and
Mhm.
one needs to overcome that.
Or even asking. We have a question. How long should a man exercise, weight training slash cardio? I
Yeah, I guess it'd be nice if she, like, what does long mean? Meaning, how long in a workout session? How long in terms of their life? So this is where we have to impose
yeah.
meaning. So, like, how long? So 30 minutes of cardio is often recommended, but presuming presuming that's safe for that person as determined by
By their
them and
doctor.
their you know,
Mhm.
health professional.
Mhm.
But yeah, you often hear 30 minutes is helpful. Please do not sleep on the power of walking. Please do not sleep on the power of walking.
For
What do you
mental for physical health and mental health.
And mental health.
I went to a workshop with two, you may know them but I don't remember their names because I met them through Dr. Batiste. So you may know them, but they are a husband and a wife that are both neurologists.
Hmm.
Okay.
I
Well,
gotta think about it. Yeah.
they did mention that the best thing to do for to help prevent dementia later in life is walking. We should be walking. You start walking like in your 30s, 40, I mean earlier. Like you need to start you're preparing for that way earlier, but they were like that's the best way um to help prevent. I mean, it's not like 100% going to stop dementia, but it's giving you a much better chance to not develop dementia.
Right. So 30 minutes for aerobic.
Mhm.
Walking is, that should be lifelong,
Yeah,
like throughout your life. This is a great
throughout your life.
activity. The body is built on a system of use it or lose it. So the more you're able to use it within reason, obviously, within the counsel of your healthcare provider, the better, in general.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question, Renee.
Yes. All right. Rebecca is asking, being a Seventh day Adventist believer, should you find a Seventh-day Adventist therapist? I'd like to answer that first and then I'll let you
Please,
go.
over you. Over you.
So I am a Seventh-day Adventist therapist, and I tell people I tell Adventists, you don't have to have a Seventh-day Adventist therapist. I know some amazing Christian therapists that are not Seventh-day Adventists, and I know some amazing non-Christian therapists. It's just true. They're very good at what they do, and the things they're saying are true. If you feel more comfortable with a Seventh-day Adventist therapist, well, then by all means, find one. We're out there, but there's not enough of us. So everybody is not going to get a Seventh-day Adventist therapist. There's a lot of Christian therapists who are very good. They don't, believe everything we believe doctrinally, but that's not what therapy is all about. Therapy is not about the therapist putting their belief system onto the client. That's not the ethical thing to do. We're here to help you with your goals and to meet your goals. So that's my answer. What's your answer, Dr. White?
Um, so you nailed it. In terms of like, you want to make sure the person is skilled to handle what you're dealing with. So, for example, if you came to me and you're like, "Hey, let's deal with trauma," I might be like, "Hey, man, my sister Tante, she might have more skills in that area as far as
Mhm.
like, you enjoy EMDR and this kind of stuff."
I do enjoy that. I'm
Yeah,
not EMDR certified
certified.
though, but
But yeah, I mean, like,
mhm,
so there's some areas that be like, yeah, she might help you more with that. So
mhm.
um so yeah, so you need to understand what is my issue and who has the skills to deal with it. All right. Now, that said, this is the question I was going to ask you. What would be the advantage of a person who's spiritually congruent with you from a therapist? What's the advantage?
Um, just they'll have a it's okay. Speaking of especially specifically of the Seventh-day Adventist culture and faith, like having someone that understands the culture of Seventh-day Adventism and kind of the belief system could be helpful in certain situations. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess, I mean, that's my answer to that. I just think it could be helpful understanding the culture. But I really go out of my way because I see some Seventh Day Adventists, but it's like definitely the least of group of people that I see. I see people from every walk of life, so I have to really try to meet them where they are at. Try to use my understanding of what I do know of either their situation. I mean, I see people who we're going way off of this question, but just to meet your question, Dr. White, I mean, I see people from the LGBTQ community. Now, I don't understand, like, my personal belief system is what what the Bible says about that. But when I'm meeting with them, I'm not putting that belief system on them in therapy. I'm here to try to address your needs and goals and what you're going through and what has brought you here into therapy. So
Right.
I guess I say I work so hard in doing that to meet people where they are that um, when you say how can you benefit, every therapist should do that. So even if a therapist does not know what Seven-day Adventists believe, when you present to them, it is I feel like it's the therapist's responsibility to either educate themselves some on that and just try to meet that client where they are at and what they are needing. Hopefully that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's really the therapist's responsibility.
Well, absolutely, because what you're ultimately getting at is like, what helps you be empathic?
Right.
What helps you be respectful of this person's position or worldview? And that really is the therapeutic skill. Like, so you could come into me with a worldview that is not my own, but I'm going to like have to call upon skill to to be able to still help you navigate the psychological struggles you might be having. But I just thought it would be interesting to also reflect on, hey man, what is cool when a person has a similar worldview to you? They
Right.
then yeah, they might have an easier time maybe amassing more empathy. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting question, and this is from we're calling them Uber Cal 21, so I don't know, but from it says, is it healthy for a person to take extracurricular activities, i.e., exercise, joining a sports group, etc., to avoid tough conversations, even though it helps them mentally? Again, I want to answer this first. So I'm like, having it just a second. So it's never healthy to avoid a tough conversation. All of those things that you listed are healthy things. Like any person should be exercising. They don't have to join a support group or a sports group, excuse me, but it's healthy. All those things are healthy things, but nothing is healthy to avoid a tough conversation. We have to learn how to have tough conversations in a healthy way. We need to learn how to listen and be empathetic and listening to the person. And we need to learn how to be able to share what we're going to share in the right tone, with the right spirit, um, and in the right healthy space with the other person. So there's never um, a it's never healthy to avoid a tough conversation. I mean, maybe it needs to happen in a certain place. Maybe it doesn't need to happen right at that moment. Maybe in a few days, maybe whatever you're thinking or praying about when's the best time to do it, but never to avoid it altogether for a long period of time.
Yeah, so you nailed it. Like just because it's like you have an urge to address something, like I've said, I've learned in my marriage, oftentimes the first time I'm seeing it, it's not necessarily the moment. Like it's often it makes sense to think about things for a little bit. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you do see I did see this one coach who talked about the fact that like, well, when you're in like this is the problem with influencers. Sometimes they're reductionistic and they're like, yeah, when you're in therapy, you're just talking about the negative. You're just talking about the negative. And so it's almost like he was kind of casting shade on therapy and saying, avoid therapy and just have a good time with the person.
Mm,
Um, no, like I think that's reductionistic. Can we sometimes fight too much? Sure.
mm,
Sure, you might fight too much. Can we sometimes forget to have some fun together? Sure, sure. Sometimes we do need to put more fun into the thing. But to Sister Tante's point, should a strategy be to avoid tough conversations? No, that doesn't seem like a winning strategy. Did Dr.
mm,
Gottman talk about the fact that there are conversations that will never be resolved and just know that in the back of your mind? Sure. But that
mm-hmm,
still doesn't mean you don't develop the skills to argue fairly, to
right.
argue respectfully, to argue in a way that bars those four horsemen of the apocalypse that he talks about that will be a predictor for the relationship not working out.
Mm-hmm,
But you want to develop the skills of being that safe space that we were talking about, you
right.
know, where we can talk, we can defer, but we can be respectful and loving of each other.
Mm-hmm,
So I would agree that I don't see that as necessarily a good strategic approach for long-term intentional avoidance of necessary conversations.
mm-hmm. Yes. All right. Well, guys, we are at the end of our time together, but we are going to continue our topic because I think it's such a huge topic, and we've done 2 hours now, but that's still just barely scratching the surface. We want to go deeper. So please, like you see on your screen there, it says, please share this broadcast with your loved ones, with the men in your life. And again, women, you are definitely welcome here because we want to learn about how we can become and support the men in our lives better, their mental health, all of those things. So your sons, your husbands, your brothers, your fathers, friends. the men in your life. We want to become a better support, and we want to continue to go and take a deeper dive and how to help men and their mental health. And women, don't think we've forgotten about you. We will do a series for us too, because we know we go through a lot. But I'm just happy to do this series with you, Dr. Whyte, because we stated this at the beginning, but men do, they, I don't know, because they don't speak up and out for themselves. They don't advocate for themselves all the time. They tend to get forgotten. And we just think like, oh, they're quiet, they're fine. No, 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 no. Just because somebody's not saying something does not mean they're just fine. That silence
Powerful,
could mean a lot.
powerful,
So yes,
powerful.
let's try to show up for the men in our lives. So we will be back here next week and we'll still be talking about this same topic. So please bring your questions, share this, invite someone to our live broadcast next week at this same time. So
And
we look forward to seeing you there.
one, I have a funny feeling what the next series will be. You know, since we've been so gracious in addressing the men, I don't know. I think the we owe women that as well.
Oh, yes.
You know, wouldn't that be
Yes,
cool?
we're not going to leave the women out.
And for you guys, I just want to leave you with the it's a myth that drowning occurs loudly. Actually,
Mm,
drowning victims are very quiet. They're very
yes,
quiet. So we want to be aware of that as we're looking for people who might be struggling. The first sign might be the silence.
absolutely. That was great. Thank you for that. All
Yeah.
right, guys, have a good evening and we will see you next week.
All right. Take care. Till next time.
All right. Bye bye.